production of textile and computers. My colleagues from northern Sweden, for example, only breed woods without any inhabitant. Some elk, what's that in English? Elks.
You know elks.
So, or some of my colleagues of Great Britain or Ireland told me some years ago, 5-6 years ago, they told me, you must learn, you German, that car production is out. The car production will go to Asia. Europe will live as a service continent serving on the financial markets. Steel production is out, that will go to India. You must learn, you German, that your industry is old-fashioned. Charlie McGreevy told me in the debate this Irish commissioner, what we will get as benefits on the financial market. Mr. Schulz, don't speak about your workers in your city. We have such a lot of money, we can even pay your workers. We are a post-industrial society, was the message. The reality is we are a deindustrialized society. And my country, with a certain core of industry, survives better than those countries who eliminated completely the industrial production and put only the future on service and financial products. Once more, what we need is another direction. We should not come to and we cannot come to the industrial society of the 19th century. That's also over. But we need a return to the combination of industrial production and international trade. And I think Europe is a continent in which some countries are leading countries for industrial production and others for international trade. That could, for example, be the share of the responsibility. In such a framework, Latvia has a big chance, I repeat it, to be, for example, a relay of trade in the Baltic Sea and between Western Europe and the eastern part of Europe and Asia. Greece and Spain. The question is not if there is a social democratic government or not. The question is who pays the deficits. On which shoulders are the burden? We put the burden on which shoulders? Of those of the rich or of the poor people? The problem for the Greek government is, first of all, they inherited a disaster. But to which extent it is useful to say that the disaster is there? You cannot discuss about it. We must later discuss about the responsibility. I, for example, want to know, I will put the question in the European Parliament, if Mr. Karamanlis, the predecessor of Mr. Papandreou, informed the European Commission before the election about the deficit or not. Karamanlis said yes. I said it to Barroso. Then I must put the question to Mr. Barroso why you didn't intervene. Because it was about the election of a conservative prime minister. We should not forget that Mr. Barroso was also a conservative prime minister together with Mr. Karamanlis in the Council of Prime Ministers. I have to presume nothing, but I cannot exclude that it was a small gift of a conservative head of the Commission, President of the Commission, to a conservative colleague. It's a question which must be given answer to. But the question for Zapatero, the question for Papandreou, and also for Dombrovskis here in this country, or to Brian Cohen in Dublin, who are conservative prime ministers. The question to them is, who should pay the bill? Those who get an enormous benefit during the last 10, 15 years, or ordinary taxpayers? That's the important question. And what the European Commission is asking from Greece is, in my eyes, not the justified way. it is allowed to put the following question. If a deficit of, I don't know, 12% of the GDP must be reduced, that's for clear. For the stability of a common currency, it's necessary that we have a coherent picture of economic stability in the whole area of the Eurozone. By the way, Greece has 3% of the GDP of the whole Eurozone, and the history made about this 3% is absolutely exaggerated. The United States have a higher deficit, but if, for example, let's take a small state in the United States like New Jersey, which has perhaps less than 3% to the GDP of the United States, is a crisis, nobody will cry to start to shout the United States are failed, on the way to fail. So we should not exaggerate what is going on in Greece. But the question we must raise, must they reduce the deficit in 2 years, 3 years, or have they 10 years' time? That's an enormous difference. And in this 10 years, who will pay? By increasing the taxes for rich people or by cutting the social support for ordinary people? That's an enormous question. And therefore the burden put on the shoulder of Papandreou and the claim of Papandreou to the European Commission come not every week with a new burden. He is absolutely justified. And therefore I must repeat, the European Union, that's not everything the same. In the European Union there is a majority of 20 of 27 governments in Europe from the right side. We have only 7 social democratic head of states in government. And we have an overwhelming right-wing majority in the Commission. And we in the European Parliament, as Social Democrats, we have a completely different view. Europe is a wonderful project. It's a fascinating idea of solidarity, of peace and justice, but it's very bad managed. Not only in Latvia, also in other countries. Therefore, I think Europe is not all the same. We, as Social Democrats in Europe, have another approach and another vision than the conservative and the neoliberals. And therefore, our politics in Greece and Spain is a different one from those what the Commission wants to do.
Yes, thank you very much, Martin.
I think I repeated all the questions.
The questions were answered. I'm guarding it. I try to. We have only 10 minutes time, but I would like to also give the chance for the last question, but very short questions and hopefully satisfying short answer as well. There was somebody, yes please, you're the one. Raise your voice please and speak out.
I wanted to ask about social democrat values in context again of Greece. You mentioned keywords, such keywords as ethics of government and decent life for people. And what if those two factors clashes? Which one is the most important? The failure of government or the level of life of people? Which one is important?
I don't understand the question.
Okay. About Greece, I think it's coming
About Greece?
Yeah, about the Greece. Their government lied to European Union about their statistics. And this is against...
Lied. They lied. A lie. I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The lying question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the lying question. The second, you were the one.
This Slovensk European movement, I would like to provoke you a little bit, because the crisis in Latvia has forced us to always to think about the differences between theory and practice. So I very much appreciate, and I think people in Latvia as well, when we speak to them, they say rules, and people are